Well, I suppose maybe some of you are wondering why I suggested gathering here today, and basically I'm going to talk about fruit combining and why I think human beings should combine more fruit in their diet, more variety of fruit, maybe even 20 types of fruit in a day or more, and I think some of you probably already do that on some days. I know Zalin, for example, has a lot of fruit trees and probably gets through 20 different types in a day. But I think it's a good idea for people in urban environments as well for various reasons. And I'm going to go into some of the reasons. So what sort of sparked this way of thinking was primatology, which is the study of primates, which sort of branches into anthropology as well, because we are large primates. And this particular monkey here is a saki monkey. Now there's a few different types of saki monkey. They live mostly in northern Brazil and Guatemala, so northern South America really. And it's been found that these monkeys eat up to 50 different types of fruit in a day. They get 5 different types of fruit in an hour even. So monkeys are said to have originated in South America. So before other primates, more hominid type primates in Africa. So at some point in time, we may have been monkeys in South America in all likelihood, if you believe in evolution, which I think you probably should, but it's up to you. I'm just going to read a quote from this study from the University of East Anglia in 2013 about the saki monkeys. It says, "We found that the diet of medium-sized primates is most likely to be dominated by fruits. Meanwhile, smaller primates, which have high metabolic requirements, eat more insects as they provide a high-quality source of nutrients and calories. Larger monkeys eat a lot more foliage because their guts can tolerate high levels of cellulose and toxins, which are unpalatable or indigestible to smaller primates." So we are larger primates. Welcome, Ping. Many primates easily consume their fibre a day, often within a single hour of active foraging. For example, a single group of several Amazonian primate species can consume as many as 45 to 50 species of fruit in a single day. One of the surprising things that we found was that primates with wide geographic ranges do not necessarily consume a wider diversity of fruits as expected, perhaps because these tend to be generalist feeders. Another surprise was that primates with high prevalence of fruit in their diets were historically among the most poorly studied, meaning we still have a lot to learn about the importance as consumers and seed dispersers. So we are large primates with a diverse geographic range, and I think we've maybe fallen into some habits of cultivation, eating only just a few fruits, and not actually being in the trees anymore means we don't have them on hand necessarily all the time, unless you're Zalin. But yeah, so I think this is significant original research because I don't think anyone sort of made the conclusion that this affects us as humans, that the relationship with primatology and anthropology. So what I suggest is that a lot of politicians these days, particularly in the lockdown era, have started talking about moving forwards and going forwards. And I don't necessarily think that human beings are actually moving forwards in terms of diet in general on the planet. So I would suggest going backwards rather than moving forwards. It's a very annoying phrase. You always hear Daniel Andrews or something like that saying moving forwards. I actually say go backwards, eat more fruit, show some respect for the trees. So also what is happening in Victoria at the moment is that we are apparently going to legislate to acknowledge animal sentience and animal rights through the POCTA Act in Parliament. which is being pushed through by Andy Medic of the Animal Justice Party. I would go one further and say we should actually have reverence for the animals beyond acknowledgement of their sentience or their rights. We should actually mimic the animals as a form of reverence and eat a large quantity of fruit every day. And also, I'm growing this beard fairly similar to the monkey here, the Saki monkey, even with the chin shaven. So yes, beyond rights and sentience, actually acknowledging that the monkeys had it correct and have it correct even. So, as humans, I don't think it's necessarily viable for us to eat 50 different types or 40 different types of fruit in a day, but I think we can push that towards 20. I'm not necessarily suggesting that we should eat more fruit. We can maintain a large primate diet involving more foliage and more plant foods without necessarily having to up the calories of fruit. Now, if you're doing a lot of exercise, obviously you can increase the amount of fruit you eat because it's a high energy food. But yes, I'm not necessarily talking about increasing the amount of fruit, just the diversity of fruit. Although I think, in effect, if you start eating 20 different types of fruit, it will increase the amount of fruit that you eat. Okay. So, in terms of nutrition, why would we want to increase the types of fruit in our diet? Anyone have any ideas? The variety of fruits?
Different forms of nutrition, different amounts.
Yes, different amounts, and indeed there is a synergy, which a lot of people mention, the synergy of antioxidants. That is when some plant foods interact with another and they become more than the sum of their nutrient parts. So what I'm proposing is that adding even more fruits in, or even more plant foods if you like, will cause even greater synergy in health. And can anyone guess which fruits have the best synergy? Which types of fruits have the best synergy with other fruits?
What goes with everything, right?
Yeah, which one has the best synergy? When you're eating fruit, which one makes you feel good? Which one makes you feel healthy when you combine them?
I don't have berries, I love berries.
Yes. Papaya. Yes, papaya is excellent. Yes.
I have papaya every day.
Well, apparently berries on berries is one of the best combinations. So for example, in the smoothie bowl that I've got over there are 6 different types of berries.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say one of the easiest ways to get a multiple synergy of berries is the frozen packets of organic berries, mixed berries. They're in most organic stores. I'll get mine together. They're in most supermarkets, and they've got 4 different types. So there, you're already, if you're eating that, you're eating more than most has been studied. They've only studied one berry with another berry. So can anyone tell me what antioxidants are good for? Any ideas?
What they're good for?
Yeah.
Cleaning up free radicals.
Yeah.
Yes, clean up your immune system, free radicals. Preserving the brain, preserving the tissues, stopping aging, which is quite an important thing. Okay, so I'm suggesting this fruit combination for all types of diets, not just the raw vegan diet. For the vegan diet as well, I think vegans should start the day with a large amount of variety of fruit. But I would push this method of human eating into every human diet to increase the number of trees, to increase human health, to move people towards a vegan diet in general. So I'm not leaving anyone out. This isn't necessarily just a lecture for vegans, although I'm sure you're all long-term vegans. So looking at the reasons why now, why historically we might want to combine a large variety of fruit. There is already evidence of this in Buddhism, this book here, La Médecine de Bouddhisme Theravada au Lao. That is Theravada Buddhist medicine in Laos. And this contains a lot of different plant medicines which they use including foods, what we would refer to as fruits and foliage, as well as herbs from the rainforest. It would be very difficult to imitate this in Australia because Laos has some of the most biodiverse rainforests and extensive rainforests in the world. So some of the ingredients here, they're all written in French as well, or sort of Asian mixed with French, Laotian mixed with French. But you can see some of the remedies for things like diabetes and other things like that involve up to 15, 16, 17 different plants. I think our veganism here in Melbourne has its basis in Buddhism. So if we take on board the Buddhist medicine of Laos, it also encourages to involve a large number of plant foods. Now this is possible in the rainforest. And I'd also say that we're affected by geography as humans now. We have access to the rainforest fruits and the temperate fruits. So when you're combining varieties, you can have your tropical fruits and your berries. And we're at a fairly significant time in history where we're able to do that. We have the fruits from colder climates and the fruits from warmer climates, and we can put them together. And I think it's like a whole new field of research in what the health results will be. And we can even look at humans from 2,000 years ago. There were people found in what are called bogs in Europe, preserved in peat bogs, and they looked at how many plant foods they'd eaten just before they died. Like there's one called the Tolland Man, if you want to look him up, in Denmark, and there's several in Ireland and Britain and places like that. And he had 40 different types of grains and seeds in his stomach. So even in recent human history, the combination of a variety of plant foods in the diet is possibly a significant factor that is lacking in the plant-based diets of today. Now, I think within fruitarianism today in the world and in Australia, there's maybe too much emphasis on monofruiting at times. It's seen as something that most fruitarians should go through at times. And it's also seen as maybe cleansing and easier on the stomach for people who are trying to cleanse out their old bad diet. But I think as we progress, we want more antioxidants and variety of nutrients and that synergy in order to help defend the body from the increasing amount of toxicity that is in the environment today in the world. Apparently we're swimming in toxins, and it's getting worse and worse every year. There's 10,000 different man-made toxic substances, and they're accumulating in our bodies, they're accumulating in the environment. So I suggest going backwards and eating more fruit as a method to cleanse and to defend the cells of the body against cancer and things like that, the results of that toxicity. And I think also within the fruitarian movement, maybe the athletes have taken over in a way in the sort of primate hierarchy of the fruitarian movement, people like Douglas Graham and Freely and Jury and Ryder, and the emphasis is more to get the calories in at the end of the day or at the end of the exercise, rather than what is the best fruit to eat, what is the healthiest combination of fruits to eat. So you end up with websites like 30 Bananas a Day being supposedly the biggest fruitarian website in the world at the time. And whilst there's something to be said for that diet, just waiting till bananas ripen and eat, I think the combination of fruits is a healthier option. You miss out on the antioxidant synergies, for example, miss out on all sorts of phytonutrients when you move more towards monofruiting or concentrating on one fruit. Okay, and just moving on to the how. Well, how I came across this is essentially I heard about the Saki monkeys maybe about 7 years ago, and I thought about it, but recently in lockdown, you know, I've really been concentrating on my diet, seeing what its effects are, you know, sitting there, just at home eating, not going out to work or to play really. It's been very cold. And my blender broke. So I started making smoothies with a stick blender in a bowl. And then I thought, why not have a smoothie bowl? So the first time in my life I ate a smoothie bowl that I'd made myself. And I actually found that to be a better way to take fruit on board than gulping it from a glass. And there's actually studies that say we experience diabetic style blood sugar spikes, which are not healthy when we take a smoothie from a glass, which does not occur so much if we spoon a smoothie into our mouth, which slows it down. And I would say, according to the amount of exercise you do, and according to how much sustained energy you want from the fruit that you eat, in your smoothie bowl, if you choose to eat fruit that way, add more chunks if you want more energy throughout the next few hours, more slowly released, and go for more smoothie if you're recovering from exercise and you want to increase the sugars in your tissues as you go. So really, it's up to you to decide. You know, more chunks in your smoothie bowl or more smoothie in your smoothie bowl, depending on your level of exercise. Obviously, if you've done a lot of exercise, it doesn't matter, and you can have a pure smoothie a lot, and it probably won't cause a blood spike, and will just start refeeding your tissues. So, just as an example, I have a smoothie bowl over there, and it has 21 ingredients. They are strawberries, blueberries, dates, blackberries, raspberries, mulberries, goji berries, pineapples, 2 types of mango, dragon fruit, passion fruit, kiwi, banana, yellow nectarine, baobab powder, lucuma powder. And I will say that some of the very high vitamin C or more exotic fruits like baobab, have been shown to be, high levels of vitamin C have been shown to be very useful in immunity, which a lot of people are thinking about at the moment. I know some of you don't believe that gain of function experiments caused SARS virus to be nastier than it usually is. But if you're worried at all about immunity, as we should, there are increasing amounts of flu and cold and all sorts of zoonotic diseases in the world. So large amounts of vitamin C from something like baobab powder may be advisable to add. And lucuma is mostly what the sake monkey eats. So I threw that in. I usually throw that in there every day as part of my reverence for the sake monkey's appreciation of the sapote family of fruits. A bit of coconut water, hemp seeds, blood orange juice, and cinnamon. So that's 21 different ingredients in there. So yes, I would like to encourage you all and the world to increase its variety of fruit, not just the amount. Any questions?
I have a question, yes. So sometimes it's recommended not to mix some kinds of fruit. So how do you go about it? Is there a list of what's a good combination, what might be a bad combination of fruit? Yes,
I mean, I suppose a lot of raw foodists and fruitarians have covered this subject in the past, and generally they say, because it's been said before, I won't necessarily say it again. Some people find this isn't true, but generally say eat melon alone or leave it alone.
Yeah.
And I find even when I eat watermelon alone, it actually gives me a pain in the stomach. It's not a really bad pain, and it took me a while to recognise that, but melon doesn't really suit me. I only have a small amount of it. But yeah, that is a whole other topic. Which fruits go with which fruits? I think go according to taste. And I find the blend of the tropical fruits that we have in Australia combined with the berries, the berry tradition, to be amongst the best thing to do. Yeah, so the more berries as well, the more types of berries, the best is the best option, according to medical science that we know of anyway. And of course, as you say, papaya.
But berries are great, but I need lots of calories from fruits, so I have big amounts in it to mix the right fruits and still the right fruit and still get lots of calories. So there are like recommendations of maybe 3-4 fruit you need to mix, and websites that suggest that. But I haven't seen sort of bigger numbers of fruits. If I'm taking 10 fruit, for example, and I want to mix it for a meal, I don't necessarily know which 10 might be good together, which maybe one of them is really bad with the other.
And I may be going further with 20 fruits in a smoothie bowl than has previously been done in evolution. I'm sure people have done it before, maybe put 30 fruit. If you used to come to the potlucks here, Bruce, in a way, was an advocate of that. You know, he'd been vegan a long time. He would have stewed fruit, he would have smoothies, and he would have an ice cream. So he'd be pushing it up maybe towards 15 different types of fruit at these meetings.
So you're saying not worry too much about the combination of fruit, just throw everything in?
I mean, I would maybe throw that open to the floor. Beyond not blending melon in with other fruits, what do other people find works well together and what doesn't?
I tend to eat melon by itself, or melon and strawberries I find seems to be okay together. And if you're worried, just grate some ginger and either with your hand or with a little ginger bag, just squeeze that over, and that helps you not get pains and things. In macrobiotics, they used to use a tiny pinch of salt as well, because just to alkalise it a bit more. Yeah.
Ginger, I haven't tried that.
Yeah, ginger juice. It's nice. Yeah.
It's another type of sake monkey.
I think
You gonna do your hair like that?
Yes, that's coming next. Maybe if I was younger, that's for you, this one.
Yeah.
If I had more hair.
I've never seen those monkeys anyway. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So it's as the study said, like primate nutrition has not really been thoroughly looked at as much as it should be, particularly considering how it affects us as humans. We seem to have decided that, you know, humans eat, you know, farmed animals and that's the end of it. Or humans have adapted to eat that. But really we eat large combinations of plant foods, whether it's fruit or seeds or, you know, leaves. Any more questions?
What was the fruit you said that monkey is? The first monkey?
Lucuma.
Lucuma, what's that?
Sapote, it's from the sapote family. So it's like the egg fruit that you would have had in Thailand. They're like, you know, canistel. But there's about at least 50 known sapote, and they keep finding new ones all the time in the Amazon as well. And when these monkeys are eating 50 different varieties of fruit, they're not necessarily saying, oh, I have a kiwi and a passion fruit and a banana. They are, you know, they may be having 3 or 4 different types of sapote, including lucuma, which is, you know, a different looking fruit, different colours, different antioxidants, but part of the same family often. They eat a lot of breadfruit as well, which I didn't really bring up because it's quite difficult to, you probably have some breadfruit, yeah?
Breadfruit, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not growing.
I don't know whether...
It just tastes like bread before you put it in the oven. It's just that pastry mix flavour to it, which can be comforting sometimes for some people if they feel like some bread. Or they're used to licking the sperm when mum's making something. But other than that, it's not particularly attractive. When it's really right, of course, these things change. So it can be almost running. So it just depends, you know, these. Anyway, there's lots of variations we have with breadfruit. Often it can be sort of like a slice of bread in principle, maybe. Other times it's just another taste sensation, variable textures, and a bit sort of sticks to your mouth. That sort of sense, taste sense.
Yeah, if you want to try a variety of fruit, then visit Alan if he's taking guests.
Yeah, that's it. Cairns is breadfruit in season. Sure.
Fairyland House, for those who want to look it up.
I'm just wondering about the what you're saying, right? Because there's a big difference between having 21 things mixed in a bowl and having 21 different fruits over a period of an hour or a day. And I'm just wondering, have you seen literature suggest that primates actually have, like we might have like a bowl of fruits, you've got 2 or 3 different ones, you might have a strawberry and you might have a bite of banana and you might have a bite of apple or something. Do you know if they've actually mixed them already? Or is it one mono fruit fully as that fruit and then they move on to the next? That's just a question that comes to mind when the difference between, you know, what we're talking about here, eating half a dozen fruits, fruit jam in large amounts, and eating something which is mixed up and has everything together in that combination.
I imagine they do stash fruit, not a lot of it, but they would mix fruit in that sense. And I have seen photographs of saki monkeys eating trays of mixed fruit that have been made by humans and being quite happy about it. But generally, I suppose they move from tree to tree and eat at the tree.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And another interesting point is that they don't go for bananas as much as we think they did. They do go for bananas, but sapote is really their favourite family of
Fine
fruit.
choice.
Yeah, of this particular monkey anyway.
My little dog has a bowl like that, but that's high fruit every day. So
All right.
all mixed, whatever I've got. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, I've found starting the day with a smoothie bowl rather than a glass of smoothie, and with the 21 ingredients, I definitely get a cleansing and energising effect. And just, in the past I was tempted to have 2 bowls of smoothie, to just stick into 1 bowl with a few chunks in it and leaving the rest for the next day. And that way it's sort of, you can eat like a large primate for the rest of the day, more foliage and other parts of plants.
What size is this primate, the saki? What size must you have? Like,
Um,
half your physical size? Or
I would say it's probably about a third of the size. It's a medium-sized primate, and we're quite large as the large primates go,
Yeah.
probably due to dairy in particular,
Yes.
and its growth hormones effect on people. But yeah, so 20 would be about a third of its diet. And obviously, whatever people feel they can do, I just don't think that, monofruiting is quite cleansing and quite easy in the digestion for people who may be transitioning towards fruitarianism. But varieties of fruit will allow more nutrition into the body.